What is up, guys? The time has finally come. Weekly AEW television is here. And we're here with our brand new weekly show, AEW Weekly, where we bring to you all things AEW for the past week. So we're going to start it off with a very plain Jane episode of Being the Elite. Like 3, maybe 4 minutes tops. It was okay, but like nothing like super impressive, and it seems like Being the Elite might take a back burner.
I mean, they need to have a 10+ minute episode next week.
Absolutely, and to
restore faith.
I need a Halloween special.
I mean, I get that you just did your first episode. It's understandable.
Yeah. So Kenny is becoming more unhinged. The Young Bucks give him a call, try to get him to bring back the cleaner gimmick. That doesn't happen. They're teasing Crazy Omega, which could be interesting. The only other like YouTube social media stuff that I check out, or anybody's right now, is Sammy Guevara's blog, which is really good, and you can check that out. I'm actually on there. Yeah, shameless plug. Nothing too much is going on there. He's just training for his match against Cody on the first episode of Dynamite. The day before Dynamite came on the air, they did a special on TNT, and I didn't get a chance to watch it when it come on the air, but Izzit Dev kind of predicted that it would show up on the YouTube channel the next day.
Yeah.
And it did, and I watched it, and it was really good. Cody is an amazing babyface for this company, and like he was all up in it, doing a lot of talking. Seeing Tony Schiavone again, incredible.
Yeah, that show actually pulled around 600,000 viewers.
Wow.
Tuned in to watch that. You could kind of see the general, and that wasn't like a thing announced very far in advance. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, we're doing this hour pre-show episode, and it did pretty good for coming out of nowhere.
Alright, so let's go to Wednesday. The premiere episode of Dynamite blew NXT ratings out of the water. You know, worldwide, Dynamite drew 1.9 million viewers.
I thought it was 2.4.
Well, that's including IPV and stuff like that. I'm just talking domestic cable intake.
Nice.
Around the world, 1.9 million viewers turned in to see the inaugural edition of TNT Dynamite. Well, the first match started off, they've been teasing it for a while. We had Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes, and what a banger to start this stuff off. Like, Sammy Guevara is such an underrated talent. Hopefully not after this match. The dude can go. Cody Rhodes, making him go to his level just to make it look like a good match. I don't know if you guys could see that from the match. Incredible spots. There was an amazing Spanish fly. Cody did a dive on his wife.
I hope she's okay. Like, seriously, hope they did a little concussion protocol.
Yeah, that was some brutal stuff. Anyways, back and forth action. Good solid 10 to 12 minute match, I think. It ends up with Cody getting the win. You kind of predicted that was going to happen. He is the #1 contender moving forward. You couldn't, like, I was hoping for a shock win there, but
4-1 Cody in the odds. Yeah, he's really strong coming into that match, and it just seemed unlikely.
After the match, the crowd was super hot, but the crowd was hot the whole night, which super props to Washington, D.C. for being into that and making that show even more incredible than just the wrestling.
From being all in and all out, I'll say that the shows draw fans from, I mean, I'm sure there were people from all over the place to come see that, not just local market, and it really does elevate the crowd presence and reactions and pops, because people are just, I mean, that's the best. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We'll keep going.
It's crazy. So after the match, Sammy Guevara gets up and like pushes the ref out of the way to like go and shake Cody's hand. They shake hands, and it's an extremely long time, so you kind of know something's going to happen. And boom, here comes Jericho, doing typical Jericho tactics, beating him down from behind. Sammy Guevara's like, and he takes off.
One run-in counter.
And so, yeah, and so after that, we got another match. We got MJF versus Brandon Cutler. Now, I was thinking that Brandon Cutler was actually going to put up a better effort than he did, but this was a glorified squash match.
And that's okay because they really have. I mean, I don't have any issue with them establishing. Okay, this is this is a jobber. You know, he's just dating the boss's sister. Married the boss's sister.
Yeah, so MJF came out and cut a ridiculous promo. It's a good thing that they're giving him screen and microphone time because every time he gets on the mic, he just absolutely kills it. Gets in there, has a pretty decent. That match might have been 4 minutes, but ends up just beating Cutler down. Gets him with the Fujiwama R-bar. I think Cutler got a total of 2 offensive moves in the whole thing, like a plancha.
Well, he kind of tripped on his. He had his opportunity from the top rope.
Right. We don't know if that was a kayfabe botch or a real botch, but whatever. It ended not in his favor, and he tapped out.
I think we will not see him on any of the content next week. They're going to showcase other guys next week.
Interesting. So after that, we got a little showcase, and out in the crowd, you saw Chris Van Vliet talking with Kevin Smith and the other guy from Jay and Silent Bob, and
Kevin Smith. Is that how you said
and Jason Mewes. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
Yeah.
Were out in the crowd enjoying the show, so they were going to get interviewed, and my boys and Helico and Jack Evans show up. It's pretty amazing when you get Jason Mewes and Jack Evans next to each other, how close they look to each other.
Oh yeah, I was having like trippy mirror
That was super crazy.
effects.
And so there's some smack talking going on about how ridiculous Jack Evans is and how their movies really suck. And Private Party just shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they're like bringing drinks to them, and then the angle really doesn't go anywhere. So it was cool to see my boys. It's cool to see Private Party. I'm glad they got some screen time, but really didn't do much. Then after that, we got a SCU promo where they were out in front of the Capitol, you know, doing their little presidential SCU
Scorp
spiel.
Bama.
Scorp Bama was there,
Scorp
exactly. Hashtag Scorp Bama. They go from that promo to a live promo out on the ramp, and they're talking about, they announced that it's going to be the old school tag, Bad Addiction, Kazarian and Daniels.
Bad Influence.
That's right.
Wait, who? Yeah.
They've gone by many names, but they're a ridiculous tag team, so they're going with the experience.
Bring back the fanny pack. I think we might see a return to some crazy.
Pentagon and Phoenix come out talking mad crap like they do, saying that they are the tag team champions of the universe.
Interesting word there, the universe word there.
Penta spits something in
Wink.
Christopher Daniels' face.
What was that? Was that just water? Was it misty?
It was probably. It was
Ninja Mist?
It was Ninja Mist because it was clear.
It was Universe Mist.
A battle ensued. They get taken off. Atlas Security holding them back.
Oh man, those guys are great.
They are great. We've
love
met them
Atlas.
several times. Atlas is great. After that, we go to the first ever crowning of the women's champion for AEW, Riho versus Nyla Rose. Now, I was very skeptical about this match going forward. It's a very huge contrast of styles, and Riho is very small compared to Nyla Rose, so I was very curious to see how the offense would be portrayed. And I was not disappointed at all, surprisingly. Nyla Rose, holy crap. That was a pretty good coming out party for her.
She had a couple things in the match I noticed that stood out to me was there was this one spot where she could have won the match. She seemed to have, the referee was paying really close attention and noticed that the opponent was, almost unconscious. And she just kind of quit doing that and then got up to do something else. And then there was the spot where she pulled up the chairs. And she made a pile of 4 chairs and laid her down on there and then did the dive out and onto her back.
Oh, we must have gone back and replayed that dive 4 to 7 times.
Very impressive.
It was insane. And the flying knee drop that she did when Riho was draped across the apron, I thought that was the end of the match right there, guys. Like, wow. And the back and forth action, watching Riho just get thrown around like a rag doll, just doing everything she can with her little legs, kicking and stomping.
The kidney stomps.
The super stomp from the top turnbuckle to the floor.
Yeah, that knee when she laid her on the third top rope and jumped out and hit her with it when she was on that third
So
rope.
a very impressive battle. Riho ends up getting the pin after a couple of Kinshasa's double knees to the head and some more stomps.
I mean, knees are hard.
Oh, absolutely. She's your first AEW Women's Champion. Congratulations to Riho. After the match, Michael Nakazawa comes out and does an interview congratulating Riho and wants...
Ring announcer Michael Nakazawa.
Oh, yes, I
They're
stand
going to have a shirt
corrected.
soon.
I want it.
He's going to be backstage and standing at the top of the ramp doing interviews, getting powerbombed.
He announces that he's gonna do an interview in Japanese for Riho's Japanese fans, and Nyla Rose comes back with a vengeance. Michael Nakazawa got powerbombed harder than...
Is that going to be like a weekly thing where Michael Nakazawa just gets powerbombed?
Oh, I mean, if it is, I'm all for it for at least a month.
Okay. Alright, I'm just fantasy booking. Pardon me.
Kenny, like she then goes and attacks Riho some more, destroying her. Kenny Omega ends up having to come out and save Riho from even more devastation, and he's just looking at Nyla Rose going like, "What the hell are you doing?" So who knows if that's teasing an angle or not. The people from AEW are saying no, but this is wrestling, folks. We all know angles.
It seemed like they were trying to get 70% of the roster some sort of screen time.
Right. So this brings us to the main event. The Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks back together again versus Santana and Ortiz, formerly LAX, with Impact, and Chris Jericho. Now this match was freaking hot. Started off super hot. Kenny Omega came out first. He was doing so much ridiculous stuff to the guys from LAX. They didn't know what was going on. The shadow slide, neck breakers, I mean all the classic stuff. He was getting fired up. He went in there, he jacked Jericho a little bit. That didn't really last very much longer. I mean, that was maybe 4 minutes of the match before.
Yeah, less than 5 for sure, definitely.
And then, like, immediately things went off the rails.
Shenanigans.
So Kenny Omega is just destroying these guys from LAX, and he gets into his Terminator form, and he's standing in the middle of the ring, crouching, not looking behind him, not checking with the eyes on the back of his head.
Ultra instinct.
And who comes and shows their face? Jon Moxley, back from his elbow infection, looking a little hefty. He needs to do some sit-ups maybe. But anyways, Kenny Omega gets jacked. And they start brawling on the outside.
Hell of a thing. They start brawling to the point where they're in the audience and the crowd, and they actually leave ringside.
Yeah, there's a spot where Kenny goes and grabs a mop, and the crowd starts going crazy because they think that's him bringing back the cleaner, and he gives a little ode and busts him with the mop. But then they continue brawling to this VIP area that's in the back that has no like visible showing of the ring or anything like that. So like, what kind of a VIP area
I mean,
is
it's just as corny as the backstage areas in any promotion.
So, anyways, Moxley finally gets the upper hand on Omega and just starts laying waste to him. Takes him to this crazy glass table. Just pile drives him through it, man. Glass
Head
shattered everywhere.
Head first.
Moxley's got this crazy look on his face. Omega's dead.
Meanwhile, back in the ring, it's become a handicap match, I guess, because
No disqualification.
wrestling.
Like we're doing like trios matches.
It's
like
the first episode though, so we're gonna just suspend disbelief on that whole thing.
Right.
Okay, sure. You're just yeah.
So the match continues and it's 3-on-1, but the Young Bucks.
3-on-2.
Oh yeah, 3-on.
The Bucks are fighting. They're doing good.
Yep, but the numbers game eventually just gets to them.
It's bad.
Oh, so they start getting a series of ridiculous double team moves from Santana and Ortiz. Even Jericho's mixing it up in there, like doing some of these combination moves. The Young Bucks kind of try to mount a comeback, and they're about to do the Meltzer driver for the win, and Jericho actually catches Nick Jackson in the air and breaks him.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's pretty ridiculous. I enjoyed it. So anyways,
Jericho.
man, the Millennium Man.
He's timeless.
So they win the Jericho and Santana and Ortiz win the match. They're all celebrating. Well, things break down even worse. So they continue beating down the Bucks.
Here comes Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes comes into
for the save.
and starts fighting, and then out of nowhere, here comes Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager. Oh, Hagar's back.
Sammy, then Dusty.
Oh yeah, then Dusty comes out.
and then Hagar comes out.
I forgot all about Dusty in
Dusty's
full
in
gear,
full paint and everything.
even though he didn't have a match on the show. I mean, that's commitment. That's commitment to your job and to the company. High praise to you.
It was great.
But yeah, so they
Biggest pop of Hagar's career.
of his career.
Ever. That's what I was talking about earlier, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because the crowd was just so hot for anything that happened. They were just the perfect crowd.
So, yes. So, overall, that was a ridiculously fun and entertaining way to kick off the new Wednesday Night Wars. I was very entertained, and I cannot wait until next Wednesday to see the new episode.
Yeah, you got me hooked in there. There wasn't a ton of things on the episode that actually hyped next week, but there's just so much going on that I have to see what's next.
Yep. Next week comes to us from Boston, I believe, and that's a sold-out show as well. AEW Tag Team Tournament begins.
Yeah, and in other AEW news, they did announce something. How did you put that? It was a YouTube.
It's
show?
a YouTube show that's going to be out every Tuesday called AEW Dark. And what's awesome about that is that it's going to be free. And what it is all the dark matches that they record from the week's show, and you just get to watch them on YouTube.
Wanted to see Luchasaurus, but didn't, and was disappointed and couldn't understand why he was on the show.
He was there, and he wrestled.
And when Jack Evans.
Exactly. I can actually give you the...
What was the roster?
So these are the featured matches that we're going to get to see, because this premieres this Tuesday on the All Elite YouTube channel. You get Darby Allin versus Cena. You get a crazy 4-on-4 tag battle. Lucha Bros with Jack Evans and Angelico. So does that mean the Lucha Bros are going to go super heel? Versus Private Party and the Best Friends. You know that match is going to be ridiculous.
Cassidy on ringside. He'd be the best manager ever.
Britt Baker and Allie versus Penelope Ford and B. Priestley? That's going to be ridiculous. All those women are awesome. And then Jurassic Express versus SCU, which you're actually going to get to see in the tag tournament. So, I don't know if they're going to build storyline there or some shenanigans are going to be involved, but all those matches sound awesome, and you're going to get them for free every Tuesday. You know what else that means? When you go to these live shows, not only do you get to watch Dynamite, but they tape a whole nother YouTube show for you. You know what I call that? Value.
Yeah. If I'm traveling and making a whole trip out of seeing this, I want to sit there for hours and hours and watch wrestling. Like that, I've made the commitment to go see wrestling. I don't want to spend more time driving than I do actually doing the thing that I'm came to do.
I'm going to leave you guys today with a fun fact. If you go back 2 or 3 months when Sammy Guevara first got signed with AEW and you watch him and his blog when they're all talking about how much of a a-hole he is, you'll notice that they say the only reason he's there is that Chris Jericho likes him. You know what I call that? Foreshadowing. Thanks for checking out AEW Weekly. Let us know what you thought about AEW Dynamite or anything else that's going on in the comments. If you like the content that we're putting out, you can help us out by subscribing, and sharing. LSS, baby.
That's nice. I like that.
Anyways, for Rotted Peach Productions, I'm Jimmy P.
This is Izzit Dev.
We'll see you next week. Take it easy.